Good morning and welcome to the SHAC. Happy Monday. My name is Barbara Gray from Clarity here in the UK, and we're set to doodle a bouquet of flowers. How's that sound? Last week we tackled the vase, and this morning we'll tackle the flowers. So do come in. Let's see if our friend Paul is in the building with your good selves, and hopefully the sound is good. Time for a cup of tea and a catch up, friends. There we go. Let me just get Paul up here. I got the wrong. I don't want to be waking Grace at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's better. Anyway, how are you? How's life treating you? Let me just make sure I'm in the right building. Sound is nice and clear. Thank you, Paul. And relax. Yes, and breathe. Good morning. Good morning, Julie. Come on in. Great to have your company. I'm sure that most people, mind you, it's quite fresh. The sun is shining here in the southeast of England, but it's really fresh. I've had to put the heating on. My feet were freezing this morning. And what about yourselves? Where are you? What are you up to? Are you enjoying the lovely weather that we're having here in England? Is it nice where you are? Lovely and sunny again. I know, Linda. It really is. But like I say, it's cold, isn't it? So let's just hang out. I was thinking while we're waiting for our friends to come in, there's a lot of uncertainty in the world at the moment. What I know. We don't have to get into our opinions about it. But what we do have to do is look after ourselves. Okay. And that sounds selfish. It's a selfish program, I guess. Okay. We have to kind of make sure that we don't get caught up in wars and trade wars and battles that we cannot control. Okay. So we get anxious. I do. I can only speak for myself, really. I get anxious. I worry. I get angry. I get indignant. I get all those emotions, I haven't even got out of bed. That's before I've had my first cup of tea, Don't look at the news. Well, that's as it may be, but perhaps we do need to be aware of what's going on. Certainly, if you're running a business, you need to be on top of what's happening because it is impacting us, My point is this. We got together, do you remember, back in lockdown when everything went crazy? And we really did think it was the end of the world, didn't we? And we all hung together and we doodled every day at 10 o'clock, And I'm not saying we need to get back to that, but we know how much it helped us. It certainly helped me. It gave me a place to go. It gave me a place to know that I'm not alone. There we are. And I think that's what the SHAC is all about. Apart from being safe, happy and creative, it's also a place where we're safe, and at Clarity, we go to great lengths to ensure that it's a safe place. It's always pleased. Of course, Paul is there and he's chatting and putting up the links, but please don't misconstrue that. He's also there to make sure that no trolls are in the room, that there's no inappropriate behavior, He's our bouncer, apart from being our friend. And, when Grace is in from Brooklyn, when we're doing Clarity TV, of course we're there to help and answer crafting questions. That goes without saying. But we have a different role too, and that's to make sure that our platforms and our rooms and groups where you hang out are safe, because that's the least we can do. You understand? So let's have a look. I just had to interrupt Grace on Audible. Oh, yes, she's great, isn't she? Northern Ireland. Beth Norton, good morning. I was watching a brilliant film last night about Ireland called The Commitments. Have you seen it? So I think it's somebody called Parker, English bloke, that directed the film. fantastic. It's called The Commitment, set in the 60s, and it's all about bands and about Dublin and the south side of Dublin and soul music. So, and interestingly, yesterday when I was going into work to get ready for the TV show in the afternoon, I was listening to Radio 4, and there was a kind of a documentary, if you like. I'm sure you can find it again, and it was about how the film was made, and it was very humorous. I mean, it's not for the faint-hearted. The language is quite fruity, but that's okay for me. And I was listening to this interview, and it was brilliant. So I texted Dave immediately, and I said, I stopped the car, I put it in park. Okay, I then took my phone and texted Dave and said, you need to put Radio 4 on, because he's the musician. I said, there's a fantastic interview kind of dialogue going on about a film called The Commitments. He said, it's a brilliant film. I said, I've never seen it. He said, let's have a date night after our chicken. I said, let's do it. So last night, Beth Norton, in a roundabout sort of way, I'm just telling you that we were watching this film packed with Irish people who weren't actors. They just, that was the fascinating thing about listening to the interview beforehand, to find out that most of them weren't even actors. They were literally off the streets of Dublin. And this guy Parker, he just used them in his film and paid them. And so they weren't famous people in the film, you know, they weren't professionals. They were just people off the streets of Dublin. It was absolutely brilliant. Heartwarming film. Heartwarming. Really funny. So, I mean, I've always loved the Irish and their humour, but that film takes it to the next level. If you haven't seen it, it's called The Commitments. Do know that every other word is fruity. F for fruity. So let me see. Where are we? What's Dave telling me? I know that Dave will be telling me something. Okay, no problem. All good. Sound is nice. And now we've got some friends in the room. Good. I'm glad you found us. Ken Kilminster, Facebook is playing up again. Oh, Ken, we can see you. So let's have a look then. So today we're going to be looking at a bouquet of flowers. I got in nice and early this morning. Today's a good day. Today's a great day. And, you know, forget all this awful April. It's not awful. It's awesome. It's an awesome April. Yesterday we were talking about amazing April, Paul and I, in the afternoon show. And it's all a question of how you see it, you know. I know there's a lot of ag, and I've just said we need to circle the wagons and stick together and double up our efforts here in the shack. And I will. I promise you I will, because I know a lot of people are very anxious. I know when I call my mum, you know, she lives alone now and she's watching the news and she's thinking, here we go again. She's already lived through a war, you know, and so I ring her regularly and just let her get it out of her system. You know, she just needs to get it out of her system. And we get it out of our system through doodling and drawing and banter and so on. And so it's an awesome April, okay? Awesome. We've got loads of treats lined up for you. Got to turn it round, friends. We've got to turn it round. There's a lot of bad stuff happening to a lot of people all over the world. But it's not happening in Crowborough. It's not happening where you are today. Not today. And so today, let's have a good day. Okay? One day at a time, remember? Now, last week, and that's not because I'm superficial. That's not because I'm vapid. Anybody that knows me that much knows I'm not superficial and I'm not vapid. But I do know that woe is me, and worrying about what's happening in another part of the world is not going to, I can't do a thing about it. I cannot do a thing. I can be outraged, I can be shocked, I can be in tears, but I can't do anything about it. But what I can do is make sure that we have a happy hour together doodling. We learn something. We set ourselves up for an upbeat, positive week at Clarity. Do you see? That's the way to go, isn't it? So let's see. Last week, let's see where we started. I started with, well, let's start with the stencil. So we started with a stencil. We started with a shape. I said you can use the stencil to create your shape, or you can draw a shape on the fold of a piece of tracing paper. I mean, or if you feel a little bit more comfortable, you can take the stencil. We've got loads of different stencils of vases. We've been, you know, vases, flowers. You can use the shape and then fold it in half. There are so many different options. These are symmetrical, not so symmetrical. So this one, you would just trace it out and cut it out, wouldn't you? But okay, so let's say what we did was, though, we had a bit of a breakthrough because we realized, okay, when we put the, let's have a look, took a bit of card and we put our tracing paper. So you could do this on paper, couldn't you? You could cut this out of a piece of copy paper on the fold, always going to be symmetrical. But then we realized that when we went to not draw around it, but create the shape by adding shade, because it was tracing paper, we used a sponge and we put the colour in like that, and it created the shape. And when we used paper, most of the ink was sort of getting stuck on the paper, wasn't it? I don't know if I kept the scrap. Oh, hello. Oh, that's me lipstick. I don't think I kept the scrap, but I think it's all available on Catch Up. When you put the ink, we used shadow grey. I used a little baby one last week, but when you use shadow grey, look, where's that low tack masking tape? Just for the sake of argument, let's just do it. And then, right, so you do that and you pop that on there, let's just say, so it stays in place while you're doing this job. This is a cinch. It's so easy to do. But what was really good was that what we found was that when you use archival ink, for example, when you smooth in off the edge of the tracing paper, do you remember it just sweeps in off the tracing paper so easily, right? Let me just try something good here. Yeah, so when you do this on paper, copy paper, half the ink, oh hello, I tore it, half the ink, there you go, put that on there, half the ink ends up on here, doesn't it? So it works really well like this. There you go. So I'm going to try something. If I just use that bit there, look, doesn't that look good? And the eye tells you where the other half is. See, just another idea, just saying. So what we did last week, we established how to do the vase, yeah, with an aperture in tracing paper, not copy paper. Right, how are we doing? Is everybody settling in? Hello, says Lillian. Nice to have our friends together. So today, I got up early today because I wanted to get ahead on the SHAC bus. So let me just get my vase. So there's the vase. Okay, there's the vase that we did yesterday. So there's just more of what I just did there. I really like that though. That is arty, isn't it? Now, so we did that, and then we took a couple of stamps and just decorated the vase. See, I did a couple like that. And you know, when you let it dry, do you remember you let it dry? And then when you went in again, it got really dark and you could really use the ink to great effect afterwards. And then I went in here and added a little bit more depth to make it more three-dimensional. Okay. If you're not sure what I'm talking about because you're new to the party, then just, I'm sure that Paul will be happy to just give you the link so that you can see the YouTube where we did this. Now, next thing, I'm going to put flowers in the vase. Okay, so last week we decided, we established whether we like glass, whether we like ceramics, whether we like, yeah. Today we're going to sort out the flowers. So what we're going to do, let me show you. take a piece of tracing paper. We sell the tracing paper. Yes, we do. So if you haven't got any, treat yourself to a block of this tracing paper because it's really good gear. And the price is excellent, actually. Okay, so this is the stuff that I use. It's very good, 90 GSM. And it's really smooth, like super smooth. So let's take a piece of this. And then what I want to do is take my vase like that. I'm gonna no, go the other way. I want to wrap it around the bottom, but I want it to butt up to the top like so that I've got an idea of where it is. Let's just do that like that. Right. Actually, do it in the middle. That'll do. And I've got a bit more wiggle room. Right, and then so that's on the top there like so. And then I'm just going to wrap that round like that. And then I'm just going to make sure that it's straight at the bottom. Right, so that's that. And then that pops in there like so. So when I turn this over, I've sandwiched my white card in between the like so. Yeah, there we are. That's easy enough. I've got two now. Look, we have a collection. So then what we're going to do is design our layout, our composition of the flower. So last week I did this. Let me just pop this one in over the top so you can understand what I'm talking about. I'll just pop this one in, you'll see then. If I do that like so, right, I'll come in a bit closer, shall I? Then you can see it better. Okay. So what I did was, oh, I'm going to sneeze. Bear with me a minute. No, am I? No, yeah, no. Sorry about that. God, I think I've got a cold coming on. Right. So what I did was I made a basic composition of flowers. So the first thing to do, right, I've got that there. Let me just show you. Is take a pencil, just a bog standard HB pencil will do. Okay, like that. And then what I'll do is, I don't want to make it too big because I did do another one. Look, I'll show you, but it was quite big. You see, I got a bit excited. It's nice though, but I think the vase is a little bit, well, it works, doesn't it? It's bold, right? But I decided to make it a little bit more petite. See? So then I went down a size. I told you I got up early. Look. So that's cool. Right? You're gonna, but you'll see it's about, actually that one I drew on that side. I've already transferred it. I'm already really a couple of bus stops ahead. So that's it there. But this is what we're going to do. Take this like so. And then what we'll do is we'll put a flower. Let's just do this shape. Got a flower there. Got the same flower there. Looking that way. Then let's do a trumpet. Put a trumpet in. So if we put a trumpet there like so, let's do an oval there. So that's going to be a trumpet there. Maybe I'll pop another trumpet. Do we want trumpets? Put one coming down there, hanging down like that. That'd be quite nice there. Right, and then we could put let's put some flowers like that there. It's a good way to create a bit of, yeah, that'll do. Then we've got a bit of, what do they always put in bunches of flowers? Eucalyptus, don't they? Always get a bit of eucalyptus in there. Love eucalyptus. It's not very good for the cats, but, and then maybe a bit of larkspur, a bit of bear grass. But basically, let's keep it simple. We're building a composition. So we can always add, we can always add. Well, we're only working on look, we're not working on our best. We're only working on there. But it kind of gives you an idea. We're going to put a flower there, another flower there. We're going to put a trumpet lily, like a calla lily there, another one there, something up there. We'll do a little bit of, what's it called? Eucalyptus. Yeah? See? And then a couple of leaves. So we're going to add a couple of leaves as well. I would say maybe there's a good leaf there, and then maybe another leaf up there behind that one. What you've got to remember is it's all got to come into the vase. So there should be a sort of a logical like stem trick here, so that you can't make it face that way. It's got to come. All roads lead to the vase. Yeah, get it? Yeah, that's it. So that leaf is definitely like that. Do you get what I mean? This is really nice to do. It's nice to do. Now let's see. Cup of tea. Slowly does it. No rush on this. We're gonna. It's a big day today. Dave's venturing back to work just for a couple of hours. That's why I'm going into the office, because we've got a 2 o'clock show. I've got a gel plate, alcohol, ink, really nice stamps, yada yada yada, and there's some new little reduced size stencils that you're going to love. So I thought, Dave can't spend 8 hours at work, so I thought if I do the SHAC here, and then I'll take Dave to work. We'll drive in together. Then he's got some work that he needs to do on the platen press. You know, he's the only one that can run the big windmill press. So he's going to do that. And that's right. There's something he's been working on, another good thing. And he's drafted the design and he's taking it into work. So he's already told Lisa that she needs to go and get the special perspex that we use for it. And he's designed hopefully we're gonna see if it works. I'll tell you, because you're bound to want one or two or three. They're stamp pen holders. Yeah, I know. So we're going into work, and he's going to work with Lisa on the machine and get a couple of prototypes made. They're always going to need a bit of tweaking and that. Make sure that the packaging is good, that everything sits and it works as he has it in his mind, as he's designed it on paper. We'll see how it works in situ, in reality. It's good, isn't it? Yeah. So while I'm with Paul, while Paul and I are working on Clarity TV, Dave will be with Lisa working on the stamp pens. Good, eh? Yeah, good distraction for Dave as well. So he's doing well, you know, but he couldn't have done all day. He couldn't have done all day at work. That would be too much on, you know, he's only 5 weeks since he had the operation. Knee surgery. I wouldn't wish it on anyone, to be fair, but there we are. He'll have a new lease of life, we're told. So let's see. Right, back to the vase and the flowers. So what we'll do now is we'll start drawing, okay? And remember, there's no pressure. It really isn't. It's no worries at all. Have you got a rubber and eraser pencil, right? Because you might want that as well. And now you're just going to sketch. Just sketch what you think. So here I'm going to put it's like a kind of a, I don't know, like a peony, or no, a peony would be a bit. Just there you go. Look, give it some petals like that. How many petals have we got there? That'll do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that'll do. And then maybe it's got quite a big inner, and then this one we'll put the inner a bit further up. Can you see this? Okay. So I'm not pressing hard because I haven't decided. So there's 1, 2. Now it's coming round this way. 3. See, 4, 5. So it's facing that way a bit. Yeah. So there you go. That's round the corner a bit. Just get the shape in. Right. That's that one done. Trumpet. Okay. So the trumpet's quite good. Let's just do that. Do that at the top of the trumpet. You'll find that helps a lot. So once you've done that, then maybe you're going to make a trumpet like, there you go. This is a real, you know that flower. You know that one. It goes like that. Yeah, that looks good. Right, so then we'll do another one here. Trumpet. So we're going to make a little wave like that. That'll do. And then another bigger wave, because that's the actual lip, if you like. And then we'll come in on the trumpet. If we like it, it will stay. If we don't like it, we can correct it. That'll do. Okay. Good. It's good that we hang together, you know. We've got to circle the wagons a little bit here, friends. And yeah, we're not powerful people. We're not powerful people. Of course we're not. I'm glad I'm not. But I also know that together we're better, okay? And there's no reason. A lot of you, I know you, and I know who you are as well. And I mean this in the nicest possible way. I know that you live alone, you worry, you panic, you know. I get it. Of course I do. See, so you do this, and then you decide whether you like it or don't like it, or whether you want to bring this one in a bit. But let's just, for the sake of argument, let's just get these. That one looks a bit, looks a little bit too the same, doesn't it? So maybe I'll bring this one in a bit. This is, I think this one's too long. Right, so let's just shorten it a bit. Right, tuck it in a bit. So we'll tuck it in and we'll make it shorter like that. And then we'll make it there so it's not so long. See? That's better. And then that will leave another hole in it. There you go. That's it. This one can be a bit bigger. Okay. Just get your flowers in that you like. That'll do. Then we've got here, we've got a leaf. We'll do the leaves at the end. Right, what about this one here is good. So this one, what about we do some, I don't know what it is, like that. 1, 2, 3. It's on, there we go. We're going to do a couple of these. Put another one behind it. 1, 2, 3. They're like that. Yeah. I need to sharpen my pencil a bit. Don't worry. It's not over till it's over. Wait till you've done this. You'll be impressed. It's a building game. Just get the flowers in first. Right, that's that one there. That's that one. We've got the 2 tulips. I'm not sure about that one. It's a bit big. Okay, then I think, right, we've got those ones in. That'll do. We'll finesse that. We've got that. We've got that. How about a bit of eucalyptus up here? I think eucalyptus is good. Okay, let me show you where I did my eucalyptus. There you go. The eucalyptus is, it's like, it's bigger at the bottom. It's almost, I won't say it's a heart shape, but it's that kind of shape, right? It's almost like a triangle with rounded, I had a look before I drew it, right? So if you've got a stalk like that, but you don't want to put the stalk in though. You want to kind of put the stalk in afterwards because they kind of sit opposite one another. But say, for example, it goes like that, and then that one is on that side like that, and then that one goes like that, and then that one goes like, so they're actually opposite each other. Not like that at all, Barbara. They're opposite each other. So that one goes like that, and then that one goes like that. Do you see? But they look quite lumpy when they're, then when you put the stalks in, suddenly it looks like eucalyptus. So let's decide. I'm going to pop, that's going to be a eucalyptus there, right? Right, forget, don't do as I do, just, right, start here, and we'll pop a, right, one at the top, real light stalk, 2, 3, there we go, 4, and there's always a little gap between them like that. I love the smell of eucalyptus, don't you? In New Mexico, when we go to New Mexico, you get eucalyptus trees. They are so tall. It's quite astounding. Right, there you go. And then you pop that in like that. And then you've got yourself a really nice bit of foliage. I'm not a florist, but I bet there's a word for, you know, like they pack, don't they? The expensive flowers, you get like a couple or 2 or 3 of them. Should be doing 3s, but my argument is the other ones around the back. But then they pad it out, don't they, with like gypsophila or baby's breath, yeah, you know, little tiny white flowers. I'll put some of them as well, and then they pad it out with a bit of eucalyptus, you know, foliage, isn't it? Yeah. So there you go. That's the. We'll put another one of those in. I think I like I like the eucalyptus. Right, lightly does it. Not the same height. It's too symmetrical, this is. Let's come down a bit. Or let's put one, let's have a look. Bit of balance. That might be good as a eucalyptus there. Let's have a look. Okay, one. Just do it. It's doodling. And you know what's really impressive? I know, right? Later on, I'll look on Facebook, and you will have done, I know your names as well. You will have done an amazing job, and that will make my heart sing, because that tells me that you've taken on board what I'm saying about sticking together. And you know, that's for me, that's my reward, is to see how beautiful your artwork is. I'm just a bus driver, you know. I have no interest in, I mean, I want to get it right, don't get me wrong. I want to get it right, of course I do, for you, but I'm no expert. Remember, we always used to say this, didn't we, when the SHAC? There are no experts on this bus. Well, I beg to differ. There are a few out there. There's some pretty fantastic illustrators that have emerged out of the SHAC, like proper. So this is quite, let's get some. Now, what's the name of this flower that's got that little, it's called a fantasy flower, I think. No, it's like a lily, isn't it? There you go, look. It's your bouquet. You put what you like in there. That's nice. Right, so we've got that one, that one, that one. That's quite good. Quite enjoying that. So, got eucalyptus, got a couple of leaves. How about a couple of leaves? How's yours looking? I think, I feel like I need a bit more eucalyptus and a leaf up here. Right, so big reedy leaf, like that. They pad them out as well, don't they? So that's going to come down here like so. Right, that's that one there. Now, the other thing is that we haven't put in is a little bit of gypsophila, right? So let's put a little bit of that in. So that's just a little tiny bit of, this is just going to be white, isn't it? Do you remember baby's breath, or whatever you call it? You can fill in the gaps. Here we go, just put a little bit of whisper of white in there. You pull it through, don't you? So you just know that that's baby's breath, or gyp, as they call it in the trade. See, I didn't know all that when I used to do the vases, the slate vases. Right, there you go. Nice, nice, nice. I like that one. I like that one a lot. Okay, that's good. Couple of, yeah, tubular. Okay, and once we've done this, then we'll commit. So that's quite big now. There you go. Let's make it a bit bolder. Okay. Good. How are we doing, friends? Good? I like it. I like it. Now we've got a bit of bear grass. You know, the bear grass like that. That's nice. We'll do that at the end. We don't even have to put that in here. We've got a leaf there. Got those there. They're quite nice. We could always put another leaf. I want to say about there. Right, it comes like that, and then back in again. That'll be nice. That's nice to draw. There you go. And then it comes in like that, and then down it goes in there. Right, we've got a leaf, got some eucalyptus, got that. We could, right, okay, let's get going. Larkspur or something like that. Right, bit of larkspur, a couple of these. Right, larkspur. Let's just get rid of the gyp up there. Right, larkspur, or any kind of tall figure eights. When you do larkspur, if you just do that, right, and then what you're going to do is figure eights all the way up, like that. Up we go, up we go, up we go. Keep going, keep going, keep going. As it gets to the top, start going a bit smaller. There you go. That'll do. That's not larkspur, that is monkshood. Like she knows what she's talking about. That's monkshood. If you want to do larkspur, it's a bit rattier. So it's a little bit more fritillary, isn't it? But you're doing the same thing, but you just got to get a little bit more of a wriggle on as you're going up, squiggle a bit, and then call it larkspur. Okay, so we're just, there you go, larkspur, monkshood. You decide how shaky you are. Okay, I'm going to go for it up here. So bigger down the bottom, and then let me just get my eye on. What am I doing? Right, figure eight, figure eight, figure eight, figure eight, figure eight. Up we go. Monk's hood, monk's hood. Smaller, smaller grey. Ding dong. That'll do. That'll do, donkey. There you go. Monk's hood it is. I'm not going to put too much in there because we've got monk's hood, we've got eucalyptus. You know, this is going to be a £50 bouquet by the time I'm finished. There you go. What's your favourite flower? What's your favourite flower? Like your favourite flower? Go on, tell us. And I'm going to think about what my favourite flower is. What's your favourite flower? I think. I love flowers. What's my favourite flower, though? Difficult to say, really. I don't know. Do I have a favourite flower? Lilies are beautiful. Poppies. There you go. It's nice to see. That's the one. Magnolia. Thank you. That is my favourite flower. I wish I could take you with me out into the garden. The magnolia is insane. I tell you what I can do while you're doing that. I know what I can do. I can take my phone. I can go and take a photo and I'll be back. Just stay there. I'll be back in a second. I can take a photo from the little balcony. Ow, electric shock. Stay there. Actually, come with me. I wonder if I can see it from my little balcony. Oh, yeah. Okay. Cool. Actually, I've got to go down the stairs. I may lose you here. Let me see if I may lose you voice-wise because I'm so far away. Let me see if I can get a picture of that. Yeah, look at that. What a treat. Right. Photograph taken. I don't know if the microphone worked all the way. Have I lost you? Now, let me see. I may have lost you there. Oh, it's fresh out there though. Oh, okay. Right. Did I lose you? Let's see if I can show you now. There's the magnolia in the garden. Look at that. I mean, they're so fleeting, aren't they? They come and they go. But there we are. Isn't that beautiful? Paul says the sound stayed with me. Thank you. And those magnolia, I wait all year until they come out. And then within a week, they're gone, aren't they? Like that. And then the leaves come. It's the strangest thing. I was watching, we planted a sakura, a Japanese cherry blossom in the garden. And it's come out beautiful this year. And then at the weekend, it was like little white butterflies where all the blossom was just flying away. And now the leaves are coming in. It's the same with the magnolia. The blossoms or the blooms come in first, no leaves on the trees, and then the leaves come in. Isn't that beautiful? So yes, thank you for reminding me, Vanessa. Of course, that's the one that really excites me. Every single year it gets me, but because it's not something you put in a vase. It's something that's, you know, it's like a tree outside. We've got a few of them in the garden. We're very, very lucky, and I know it, you know, and I know it. Oh, yeah, there you go. My favourite is magnolia. Now, what about you? Hey, magnolias are definitely beautiful, but they're not with us for long. That's right. They're very fleeting, aren't they? Okay, so now I'm going to go back over my shapes now, just because I want to transfer them. I want to show you in a minute what. See, so once you're happy with your bouquet, so let's say this one here. I'm just going to show you. So these are then I'm going to. So that's like that. Okay. but I'm going to wrinkle or overlap them a little bit. So as I come round, look, see it, there's a little tiny overlap there. See what a difference it makes as you come round on the top. There, see? So just a little tiny overlap there. That's a bit wrong. That one went wrong. Oh, I'll do it again. So say, for example, there's the petal like that, and then there's just a little tiny bit that overlaps. Doesn't that look good? Easy. So that's to be. And this one's a bit weird, isn't it? So I'm gonna transfer these, you see, into. There you go, like that. Who's crafting along with me? Hmm? Who's crafting along with me? Who's doodling? Hey? I love bluebells as well, wild bluebells. They're not quite ready yet. Although it won't be long now. I bet we start to see them very soon. There's a sort of a sequence in it. You can't stop nature, it just happens, eh? There's something to be said for that. It's quite powerful, that notion. Don't you find that quite comforting? That nature, regardless of the shenanigans, what human beings do, you know, nature just does it, doesn't it? You know. And every year, I mean, we're doing our best to wreck it, I'll have to say, but every year, without fail, the magnolia, the blossoms, the magnolia. First come the camellia, then the blossoms, then the magnolia, then the bluebells, then the rhododendrons, you know. And I'm no gardener, but if I get served the same flowers every year for long enough, I work out the sequence eventually, you know. It's lovely, really. And then I'll tell you what I ought to use as well, because I can feel I've got my black on here. So come on, what do we use when we're doing that? We've got to protect our hands with something. I'm going to use my groovy guard, and then that way I'm not transferring all the great. I don't care. I'm happy. If you're happy, I'm happy. You know. So look. There you go. Yeah. So there's something very comforting about the fact that the flowers come and the trees come. And the ginkgo's the last one in the garden and then it's bright yellow, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful ginkgo, Japanese ginkgo. And then at the other end of the summer, the ginkgo's the last one to shed its leaves. And then we have this carpet, just an amazing carpet of yellow. It's just breathtaking, really, you know. And isn't it comforting to think that you would think that the humans are doing their level best to destroy all that, but they can't change the fact that the ginkgo tree is it's a really late leafer at both ends. I love that. I get comfort from that. There. And it's relaxing, this. Do you know? There you go. Isn't that nice? Bit of bear grass. Like a bit of bear grass. There you are. And it all flows into the vase. And no, I like it. I like it. I like it. Right. So now we've done that. See, there's no, you just experiment. If you're not playing, you can't worry about it has to be like Barbara's, or it has to be perfect, or it has to be, and it's not working and I hate it. No, just go with it. Play. It's like the same this afternoon when I get the gel plate out. You know, if I start putting in my head an outcome, I won't get there. I guarantee I won't get there. I have to trust the process. And if I trust the process, like here, So we get the tracing paper and then we make the circles where we think the big flowers could be. And then we try it out and we go through the process. And the process isn't over yet. So you don't know what this is going to look like yet. You haven't completed the process. And it's when we start going self-criticizing and panicking about, I'm never going to be able to do it. Mine doesn't look like hers. This is rubbish. Blah, 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 blah. And then before you know it, this is rubbish. I'm out. And that is the biggest lament, I think, of crafters. And you just have to get rid of that idea and say, I'm having a play. I'm just having a play. Okay. And if I'm prepared to sit here with me lippy on and draw a bunch of flowers, then you sure as heck can, you know. And we've learnt this in the SHAC. The more we do, the better we get. And like Elizabeth says, and the better we get, the more we want to do. So once I've done this, now I'm going to show you something. Because then, in order for that to be like that, I've got to turn it round and put the lead on that side. We agree with that, don't we? I mean, you could put the flowers in back to front. Who cares? But I have a method in my madness. So now let's take that tracing paper. Let's take another bit of that stencil card. But this time, let's wrap it round the other way because we're going to transfer. So what I need to do is open that fold and then fold it the other way, okay, so that I'm on the back of it, if you know what I mean. Let me just do that. Right, so now, where I drew it, remember, those spiky ones are on that side. Now I've turned it round, and now the spiky ones are on the other side. But if I did that, like so, then I've got another bunch of flowers. Why waste the effort when I can have a twofer? So, sharpen pencil, HP source, Houses of Parliament. Right, graphite. And then what we'll do is we'll transfer. I've got this idea in my head for a gel plate, but I haven't had time to do it. But maybe tonight. And that's what I'm talking about play. So that's going to be in the middle. Right. This time though, I'll just take a bit of low tack, pop that on there. Yeah, I just want to do it, but I need some time and I need a bit of space. Space on here, space on the counter, space in my head. Right, now this time we'll go again. And we're just let's just make sure that we're doing it right. So if I transfer the lead now, let's just see if it works. Yeah. Okay, happy with that. Right, so we know it works. And now we'll just put the flowers in as we drew them before. There we go. There's my monk's hood. Or your larkspur if you're jittery today. I'm not saying a word. Okay, there you go. And then this is our eucalyptus. There you go. Can always add a bit more if you feel it's a little bit ropey. There. Yeah. Until you just lean into the process and just take it one step at a time, you can't really enjoy it because you're restricting yourself. You keep thinking, you keep telling yourself it has to be, you're trying to bend it to your will, you know, rather than just going with the flow. When you get to go with the flow, in art, I learned this in pottery, you see. So if I try and make a pot, and I mean, I'm not talking about throwing on the wheel, I'm talking about hand building. And then it doesn't do what I want it to, right? Well, the clay has a mind of its own, as they say, okay? So what you do is you just go with it. And that's when you really start to enjoy. And it's, have I done that? No. It's exactly at that point when your work gets elevated, because now you're not trying to steer the clay or control the clay. You're going with it. You're letting it tell you what it wants to do. That's how I know it sounds a bit hokey, but there's a lot to do with it. And I'm the same when I'm drawing nowadays. I kind of, if my hand goes off and suddenly my eucalyptus doesn't look like eucalyptus, I just think, well, let's have a look, because it might be brilliant. And until I let it do it, how am I ever going to know how brilliant it was? This one. So it's all about play and not trying to force the outcome, especially, with unpredictable art. Like we're using today, I'm going to use alcohol ink on a gel plate. I've done it a few times, so I know the process. That's the point. I know the process, friends. Okay. There's a lot of variables, of course there is, and therein lies the play. And I have a lot of acceptance around the fact, and I'm relaxed as well. That's the other thing. I'm not going to, I used to really panic about it not being perfect on telly. When I did it, it needed to be perfect. And I just gave myself a headache. I just stressed myself out by always wanting to not set myself up for criticism and not fail. Do you know? Well, of course you know what I mean. And now I think, oh, well, moving on. I've just learned something. I've just learned something else. Oh, now I know what not to do. I learn when I make mistakes, or I learn when it doesn't do my bidding, when it does, when it does something that I didn't expect. I'm not going to call it a mistake, because that's wrong. I don't think there's such a thing as a mistake, if you know what I mean. I don't know. There are things there are such, not in art. That's what I'm trying to say. In art, it's a journey. I know I sound a bit cheesy here, but I think it's just it's a discovery. It's like, okay. Obviously, if you pour embossing powder all over the floor, that wasn't clever, but it's got nothing to do with the art. Do you get what I mean? Sometimes you just have to sit and think about what you're, is it a mistake? No. It's a journey. It's an adventure. And you can't have an adventure unless if I'm going to Brighton, I'm on the bus. I know I'm going to get on the bus at 9 o'clock and I'm going to get off the bus at Brighton at 10:30. Okay. Is that an adventure? No, it's a trip to Brighton. An adventure is if I get on a bus and I don't know where I'm going. And that's art. Do you see? There's a difference. If you do groovy, it's the bus to Brighton. You know exactly where you're getting off. But when you're doing this kind of art or mixed media or things like that, that's when you're getting on a bus. You've got a rough idea which country you're in, but you don't know where you're going to be having lunch. That makes sense? Good. I know what I mean. Right, now let's say I've done that and it's all there. Okay. So what's interesting is I could colour that in now. And here's another bit of interest. So I've got the vase on that one and I've got the flower on that one the wrong way round, right? But why wouldn't I use this one to carry on? Yeah. I started watercolouring and I'm loving it. Well, there we are then. There it is. So there's where I got caught up this morning, right, with watercolour, Vanessa. So you see, I wanted it to be, it's not inked, it's not black, it's just using what I had in front of me, which was just the perg liners, the watercolor ones, right? I used a mix mat, I used a water brush, and I just thought, I don't want to make them bright pink and, you know, I just want to make them look real, you know, rather than mad. And so you can see what I did. Doesn't that look like eucalyptus now? You see? And so what I did was I took this one, and this is it, because now, of course, you haven't got a vase on that one. But guess what? I've still got this, and I can tuck my vase in, so I could mask that bit off, and then I could put the vase in after the fact, and then that way the flat, or I can give it some stems, right? Doesn't that look like a beautiful? Now that's something you'd see in a posh hallway or a hotel, yeah. But I can also now, I can tuck it in so that the lip of the vase, so these flowers are in front of the vase, you see? And then I'll just mask them off so that when I'm putting that shade in, like we did before, yeah, the flowers are sitting over the top of the vase. So no, we didn't waste the transfer either. And the other good bit about this is the one, you know, we say one for test and one for best. Well, this is the bus that we're getting on to check the watercolor and how we do it, whether we like the colors, you see. And then if you still feel inclined, then you can go back to your original one, flip the artwork, because now you've got the lead on the right side, recreate the bouquet on here, and then color it in. You see? So as far as the color goes, you get where I'm coming from, I think. And as far as the color goes, now I've got that. I'm not going to add more. I'm not going to add blacking. I'm not going to use, I'll just use the grey pencil to do the line art. Yeah, and you can always add that afterwards. Once you know pretty much, you haven't missed anything really. Once you know pretty much where the colour's going to go, then we're going to go with watercolour. Now, let me see. What's the time? 10:52. So I have a suggestion. I have a suggestion. What about on Thursday evening, because we're hanging out together, what about if we, on Thursday, do a little craft along together doing this? Okay, so there you go. I showed you what you need. You need your pergoliners. You need your watercolour pencils. You need, well, that's for the vase afterward. No, wrong colour. This is the vase, shadow grey. I've got a couple of the grey pencils. You know the ones from the polychromos, the set of 12, the greys. The reason that this doesn't look so bright and it looks a little bit more like a proper bunch of flowers is because I did the wash with the watercolour, but then I went in with greys to add a bit of shadow. So I'm not finished yet. It's still a work in progress. Yeah. But what about if we have a go at this on Thursday together and do a little bit of watercolour? And all you need, oh, and then you need a paintbrush and some water or a water brush. It's up to you. I might get a paintbrush out or a water brush, whatever I've got. I'll have more time then, because we've only got 5 minutes. Doesn't make sense to start this now. But how about we do this on Thursday for an hour? I think that'll be really nice. Okay. And then we can do the colour. And because it's a drying game, this is the thing, right? Before you come on Thursday, have your pencil all ready to go. And then what we'll do is, this is what I think. What we'll do is you get up to that, right? Then on Thursday, we'll do that together, right? But it has to, you do a layer and then you have to let it dry. Vanessa will know this, right? So then we'll do a layer and I'll show you how to get some really muted, real colours out of the, you know, you'd think you've only got 20 watercolour. When you start to mix the colours on these blending mats, this is the mix mats. It's important. Bring a mix mat to the party and then we'll start mixing different tones so that the yellow is not canary yellow, but it's a beautiful muted ivory yellow, etc., etc. There's 1,000 colours in that just by mixing different colours together. But you need a mix mat to do that. So so you bring your mix mat, do that, and then while that's drying, see this, I'm telling you the process now. While that's drying, we'll go back into this one and we'll apply it to the vase that we did. So then we'll flip that and we'll get it in the right place on there, right? And that's what. And then we'll put that to one side and we'll carry on with that one. I think it's better to let it air dry than force dry it. I force dried this one earlier and it buckled a bit. There you go. Was it a mistake? No, it was an experience, a learning curve. There you go. Like we always say, we have good days and we have growing days. Yeah. Was it a mistake? No, it was a lesson. That's what it was. It taught me something. So have a beautiful day. Go and sit in the garden if you've got a garden, and yeah, just go and have a cup of tea and enjoy the blue sky if you've got blue sky. And I shall see you with Paul at 2 o'clock. I'm going to go and get David. I'm quite excited about going into work with him. Be nice to get that old platen press fired up. And then at 2 o'clock, I'll see you with my gel plate and the stencils and those beautiful little two-way overlay stamps. So it'll be something for the clean and tidy art. Yeah, there'll be something for you there, I'm sure. Okay, lots of love. Have a great day. I don't think I've forgotten anything. No. Staying happy and creative. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. And thanks, Paul, for your help.